Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Make it this the second episode? Most likely. Yeah, we have to. Let's make this a second episode. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court record, please. Of course, my name is Satoru Hosanaga. I'm just making up some random voice. I am the head waiter at the Western style restaurant called La Carnival. Whoa! Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, That's a big fish you have. It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It became a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood. Osanaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have few diners at the time of the day. The lunchtime rush was over and there was only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was an accused university student.
Yes!
Why? Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness report of what he saw, you amateur. But... The next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. Okay, let's see how much I messed up. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here at court today. The blood stain, come on now. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? What's with the blood? No. There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table. What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, Mademoiselle, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Wait and see, it's not our turn yet. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, if your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who will diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I never had gotten into university otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright. You scared me. I won't forget this piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just gonna shut my eyes and say it. Objection! Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection!
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for the court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Osanaga-san, is there any chance you've mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. Ahem. Actually, I have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was on that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Sketch of the establishment layout drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you could see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered in the record. Props to the guy that was coughing for that voicing scene. So, the court has now heard a precise of the case. I don't know. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in the close proximity to the victim was the defendant of the trial today, on trial. It would seem we are looking at the black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency? If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. Why did I press X for? Glad that's not an option. In other words, you may have some reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution had decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at the stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual about these peculiarities. You said it, Professor Mikoto said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you are willing now to throw that trust back in my face. Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then the defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Or are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. Defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive the evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Aochi, please continue with proceedings. Tisk. While you were warned, the young man can be so reckless. The young can. You know many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. In a short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silent forever. The prosecution calls its next witness. Very well, officer. Bring forth the witnesses at once. Witnesses, kindly state your name and occupation for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Iyesa, Nosa. Reporting in for duty, sir. Myself, I find employed as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity for the effort sense of our nation born, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District Curio Correcuta, on your service.
An antique dealer and a soldier. What unusual pairing.
Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned.
Myself, I habitually take the tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with the interested parties regarding with the curios with which I make my business.
I can't understand a word that old man is saying.
He's an antique dealer. It sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival.
He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them.
He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clients.
Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct?
Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was the black uniform rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir.
Why was there a baby scream? This man's impossible to understand as the other.
Excuse me, but I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So this is decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead.
Yes.
Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable?
If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start.
Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. I'm assuming the baby is behind that guy?
Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon.
I'm assuming the baby's right behind him. That's what that thing is, because that does not look like a uniform. What the witness saw. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at this restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Myself, I was extolling the virtues of particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
At the precise moment a firearm was discharged, I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniform varsity cadet.
Varsity?
On the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Wait, who? I was on my hands and knees, investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. What's curio?
Well, so you see, Sergeant Nosa actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired a weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgettable enemy.
Who's the weasel? What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in broad daylight of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone.
Is that really true, Kminosuke?
Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down, and just as I was picking it up,
well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere.
And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? I'm gonna mess up somehow, some way. Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witness. Cross-exam? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It's time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony of the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Excuse me. Therefore, it has my grave duty. What? What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands its right to cross-examination. It is our right, after all. Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. Huh? How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination? The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle really begins. Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies of the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what the soldier has said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence, right? Right. Evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and disputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now, let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Huh? Alrighty then. It's all or nothing. That was a sad slap. Hey, he gave us a hit. The soldier. What the witness saw. I was ingesting a regulation beside the stag while having a tactical decision with the old man. Myself, we got 5 chances. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of particularly fine Goldio trio, the military gentleman. At the precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian. And from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Who's the weasel? I was on my hands and knees investigating the black uniformed varsity cadet on the English civilian, and from the back, the black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian. So if he's talking about Ryunosuke and the Englishman, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel, who was the weasel?
Yes.
So this black uniformed university cadet, you're saying that was... I've had just about enough of your sauce, cadet. Sauce. Who else do you see around here in black uniform, Well, there's someone standing right next to me who fits the description as well. It was you, you little weasel. You unloaded the firearm on that man from behind his back, and you call yourself a citizen of the great empire. What is it, Ryunosuke? I'm not quite sure. It's something that sergeants just said, but I can't put my finger on it. Something playing on my mind. In that case, check back over the details of the evidence you've gathered in the court record. And if you find an inconsistency, there was what the witness just said, then don't hold back. What the heck was that? Hey, can I press Y for a reason? Thank you. Okay. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired an English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. And Oh, he's saying that he shot him from the back. Gotcha. That's what he meant.
Yes!
I thought he said there was another person. Please don't tell me I messed up. I messed up, didn't I? What? What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I don't know how I just went along with that. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. Tisk, what nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an immature student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It could be more plain. To spell it out, would it be an insult to the court? Kazuma, what? What are you talking about? It apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iyesa Nosa. Iyesa Nosa. Yes, sir. What, sir? Hey, that makes sense. The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. That's what I kind of didn't understand. I thought there was like another person. That's what he meant about the cowardly little weasel. But he meant about saying he fired him from the back. Got it. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military great eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because. Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ugh. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Hey, there's the baby. What? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his bag, but he pushed it down again. Certainly there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the fire and discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond a reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iyesa Nosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. I can't even make a screaming noise. Hey, PS4 award, let's go. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up from the floor.
And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either?
Myself, I have already been quite clear. That contract interested me not. I was too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor. Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure.
Treasure?
Money? Indeed, the holy Adakoban, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit a restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, La Sauté, in the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On that day under scrutiny, it was the military man that I proffered my holy treasure. I believed that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not, but I was presented with this little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes from the briefest of moments, was there no more. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished. Hunting around under the table, I was, in case, mayhap, it had fallen there, and then it happened.
You heard the gunshot, you mean?
Indeed I did, but heeded it not, but I was concerned only with finding my absconded holy treasure. Nothing could distract me.
Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. Huh. I see.
That lamentable day, the precious holy Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself.
As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver our verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Archie?
Hush, worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will not find a wolf at the back, whatever that means. My witness have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing the next statement, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. It's us.
What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well, the court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution allegation. Is that clear?
As clear as kitty coat glass, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir.
Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking over your shoulder, I think?
Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up to the ranks, sir. Name Ido. It was seen those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido. Tension! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy.